What's up, my good people? What's up, my good people? Wake up with me. It's your man, Trayvon Pratt with AIM, always improving the mind, getting ourselves together. Welcome again on this wonderful Monday. This is Mindset Monday, and we took a break last week. It's Men's Mental Health Month, and one of the things I got to emphasize, guys, is we need our rest. I've been working like crazy and it's been a blessing, but I definitely need to take that day. So that's why we didn't go live last Monday. This Monday, man, we got the topic for you. First of all, I want to shout out to everybody who's been watching, who's been following. You guys have been amazing. And second of all, what we about to discuss, I want to tell you some truths, and I'm gonna start it off with it's all love, bruh. This may come across to some people as brash, um, but we're gonna knock this. We're gonna knock some of these myths out the way. I am so tired of my guys acting as if we have no emotion. You know, I say most mishaps stem from miscommunication, and this has been one of the most miscommunicated messages for us to have. Men don't have emotions. Men are not to be emotional, when in fact, we all are emotional beings. So here's a truth to start this live off. Here's the truth. We do not control or choose what emotions we have. We do not control or choose what emotions we have. Think about it. Nobody ever chose to be jealous. Nobody actually chooses to be angry, right? It's more so the emotion that happens. It's about emotional regulation, how you handle your emotions, what you learn from your emotions, becoming self aware, doing what's needed for you. The more aware you become, the more active you become in your emotional, the less emotional that you will be. Nobody actually chooses their emotion. Let me give you the process. It's emotion, thought, decision, action. First, there's the emotion. You feel something. Then there's the thought pertaining to the situation. There's a decision. What I'm about to do. What should I do? Then there's the action. I'll give you the scenario. Since my guys, this is how I talk to about emotions with my guys. They say that, what's up, Quan? They say that they don't have emotion, they don't react to emotion, right? If you come home one night and your house is on fire, you haven't heard from nobody, you got a family, they're supposed to be in the house. You just gonna be, what they call even kill. I don't believe in even kill. So we're gonna discuss that too. Matter of fact, let's do it now. Even kill came from monkdom. Even kill came from monkdom. My guy. And a great book that you could read about monkhood, monkship, monkdom, about how monks operate. On the outside, it's like, okay, these guys have no emotions, they have no reactions, they can stand in, they can weather the weather. They can stand in freezing temperatures with barely any clothes on without, reacting to it. They can, hold their hands over fire and not react to the pain. Pain is now is an emotional state as well. And all of the above. So that mantra, that mindset came from monk practices. But there's a great book called Think Like a Monk by the author Jay Shetty that describes and explains this. He went in the mountains. He went and practiced being a monk. And he was able to come back to real life and was able to put these practices into play. How does this fit into real life? It's more about emotional regulation. So to briefly describe even keel is when you're on your high horse, you should be able to humble yourself. And if you're low, you should be able to pick yourself up. So you want to be able to balance yourself. But it's not about never feeling on, like never getting high. It's never getting low. No, it's about being able to balance yourself to keep flowing. If that makes sense to somebody. So it's not about disregarding your emotions to act as though you're not feeling anything. Because I see guys that say they just want to be even killed. They'll have a child and be like, "That's cool." Like, dog, you just created life, bro. Like that is something. That is a joyous moment. Like that's cool. I don't need to smile. You know what I'm saying? Like you detached from smiling. That's I don't want to hit you in the heart, but that's a trauma reaction. You can't smile. You know what I'm saying? But yes, that's what that even kill is. So going back to the scenario about you come home and your house is on fire, you haven't heard from your family, right? You want to act as though you're even kill. That's not going to happen, especially if you by yourself. It's not going to happen. You're going to be like, what is going on? You have an emotion like, what is this? You're going to What's the process? Emotion, thought, decision, action. You be like, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? You're going to feel like crazy. What's going on? Then you're going to make a decision. Are you jumping into the fire? Or are you calling the police, the ambulance? Do you call your woman? What do you do? Right? You make a decision and then you make the action. Whichever one you landed on, you make the action. That's the process. So you go emotion, thought, decision, action. I can end the live right there because we don't have to detach or separate from having the emotion. The emotion is not the problem. The emotion is not the issue. And Quan, if you're available, that link still can work. If you ever wanted to join in, I got you, bro. You can still come in on that same link I sent you. Um, but yes, we gotta break this myth about men do not have emotions. I try to ask my guys, and I never have gotten a response, an actual answer, right? And right now we just breaking the myths. I never gotten an actual response or an answer when I hear a guy say that somebody else is just being emotional. I then ask them, okay, so what emotion are you referring to? Because it could be anything, like, because what you don't realize, my guy, is that you're having an emotional reaction to someone else having an emotional reaction. You're frustrated, an emotion, from somebody else outwardly showing whatever their emotion is. You consider it being emotional, whether you feel like they're being weak or I don't want to use the word it's early, but if they been on some BS or they're like complaining or like you know out of their irritation they're showing an emotion and you are frustrated by that emotion. Let's see what my guy said. Here at the job, regulating emotion. It's Monday. They already started. That's why we come. But I said Monday. That's why we come on Mondays, man. Because a lot of us we start our work weeks, on Monday, and the job is one of the most anticipated, one of the most challenging places for our emotions, and that's where we really need to regulate our emotions because a lot of the times it's not about us. It's not about us. You know how people could be rude and then say it's just business. No, that was personal. That was personal. If you was rude, if it was just business, we could have kept it at business. But you made it personal. That was personal. You came over trying to down me. That was personal. Anyhow, yeah, you in a good place. Keep listening. You know what I'm saying? Another scenario. You walking in the woods, right? Guys said that they don't have an emotion. You walking in the woods, you see a bear come from around the tree, close quarters. You just gonna be like, it's a bear. You know what I mean? Just walk. No, you be like, oh. Even if it's a big dog, you gonna be like, oh, like yo. First and foremost, you know what I'm saying? You have the emotion, then you have the thought, then you make a decision, huh? Then you follow through on the action. Let's see what happened over here. Yes, indeed. So it's not about not having emotions. I want to clear that. It's about how you react, how you handle your emotion. Again, we're emotional beings. We are wired to be emotional. If you don't think that you should have emotions, you are preaching psychopath, sociopath. And I'll give an example on that too. I know this might be a little far fetched, but it's real. In it's real cases like this, there was a Criminal Minds episode, right? Where a couple had two sons, children. You know what I'm saying? They was playing with toys in the basement. Um, they come down, they see that one of their kids have passed, right? Like what happened? Turns out the son that was a sociopath, he was born without the capability to feel emotion, killed his brother because he was playing with the toy that he wanted to play with. If you think that is right, then this live is not for you. If you think that's the way to be, that's how it should be, this live is not for you. This video is not for you. This content is not for you. Because we talking about being balanced, we talking about emotional regulation, so that we can flow, we can move forward in life, we can be ourselves without having to doubt or question who we are in a negative sense. We always improving, huh? Life is meant to be felt. You're supposed to enjoy. You can't enjoy if you never allow yourself to be, if you never allow yourself to feel. A lot of people aren't happy. A lot of men aren't happy because they won't allow themselves to be. That ain't how you supposed to express, but you want to smile. You fighting it. You holding it back. You know what I'm saying? You want to be able to talk about whatever it is that doesn't seem masculine. So you don't. You keep it to yourself. You holding it in. And the thing about emotions, the more you hold them in, the more you suppress them, the more weight they gain. So the less you show, the less you allow yourself to feel, the less you accept, the more will come. And this is why so many of us guys lean into self sabotaging practices, because we try to act as though we got this miscommunication, this mixed message of men don't have emotions. That's not true. Men supposed to make logical decisions, but here's the kicker about that. Your logic is based on your emotion as well. The emotion is at the forefront. So here we go again. What's the process? Emotion, thought, decision, action. So what I mean by that, if you made a logical decision based on what you thought, your thought was based on what you felt. The logical decision. What do they say? What do we say? I did what I felt like I supposed to did at the time. That was your logical decision. It was based on emotion. So let's get into it, man, because emotions are not bad things. Okay, men aren't taught to regulate their emotions. We are taught to suppress them. But in today's world, that's not sustainable, nor is it healthy, right? And a lot of guys that have taken that mantra don't realize how emotional that they actually are, how reactive they actually are. My guy is at the job site. You just take the job site for instance. If it's whether it's a diverse job or if it's an all male profession, there's still high emotion. I was a manager of a warehouse that was predominantly men. I'm talking about like 97% men. We had one woman every now and then. You know what I mean? And they ain't never was an issue. I always had issues when it came to management. I always had issues with the guys. They was complaining, they was whining, they was late, they was, you know what I'm saying? Tell them we got some work to do. Why we got work to do at work? Like you're in an emotional state, bro. And I can pinpoint which emotion. You know what I'm saying? But if you ask them, we all men here. We ain't no emotion in here. Lies. It's all emotion. It's high emotion. It's high emotion. So that's where I'm at. 97% men, two women, two women. You know what I mean? And them guys could be going crazy over them. You know what I mean? Ready to fight and some more stuff. That's all emotional. Emotion reactions. All right. We have a lot. I got a lot of points, right? I got a lot of points, but I didn't take notes specifically because I wanted to come to you raw. No diddy. And I want to give you at least a few tools, right? I already gave you a resource. Get the book, Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. But there's going to be a few more dropped. For one, I have the AIM Emotional Wheel. It's in the description. It's free. You hit that link, download the PDF. What this helps with is to show that there are more than a handful of emotions. A lot of us, only know of a few emotions, and out of those few emotions, only less than few are acceptable to have or to show. So learn more about emotion, learn more emotions, then you'll be able to be more aware. Like, what am I actually feeling? What am I actually going through? What emotion am I experiencing? And then with that, you'll be able to navigate a little bit further. And of course, I'm here. So it's three resources. I just gave you a book, I just gave you a tool, and I'm here, right? So, link in the description, free AIM emotional wheel chart. Download that and we can discuss. I can show you how I use it. I can show you how I use it. And I found it interesting. You know, like, okay, there are a few more emotions than even I acknowledge. You know what I mean? Like, it's a wonderful thing. And I don't think it's complete either, because I think it's 64 emotions altogether on the wheel chart. It could be way more that we experience, you know, or a combination. But yeah, here's some of the prompts, right? Let's go ahead and get into the juice because we don't have all day. But I would love. Uh, this is one of the main things that men's mental health we definitely need to discuss because this is where it starts at. All of the guys that feel as though or have eaten that lie that you're not supposed to have emotions make decisions based on just that and wonder why their life is spiraling, right? And when it becomes overwhelming, when it becomes too much, that's when we lean into self sabotage. So the old view is emotions equal weakness. False. False. That ain't it, bro. Okay? What it is emotional awareness equals strength.
Message.
I'm gonna give it to myself. Emotional awareness equals strength. You learn to embrace your emotions. In order to process your emotions, you must feel, you must accept. Acceptance is at the front of any process. You got to accept what it is, right? So if you sad, if you feel fear, if you're in a vulnerable position, it's cool. It's not unmanly, bro. It's not demasculination for you to feel anything. It's not unmanly for you to be in a vulnerable position. If you learn, in order to learn, learning is a vulnerable state, especially if you're learning from someone else. You're in a vulnerable position. It's not a bad thing. Emotional literacy is power. So we're going to learn more about emotion so that we are better managers and regulators of emotion. That's the first prompt is emotion does not equal weakness. Emotional awareness equals strength. Okay? Second thing, second prompt, practice mindfulness. I can't express that enough. Practice mindfulness. Take you a few minutes just to check in with yourself, right? What am I feeling right now? If we paused when we felt something, because I emphasize communication, right? I even broke down disrespect. There is no disrespect until there has been some communication. Most of the time, people don't know what it is that you consider disrespectful, right? And a lot of the times, it's not intentional if they disrespected you, but you took it as so. If we was able to communicate, if we was able to stop real quick, right? We'll be able to say, hey, what you meant by that, instead of like, what you mean? Like, I'm ready to fight. It would be like, hold on, bro. What you mean by that? You know what I mean? Because how I saw it, how I took it, what you just said looked like this to me. And I don't accept that, right? Communication. And either there will be correction or, progression in that sense. And then there would be, okay, a decision. Like, all right, so I don't need to mess with you then. If I'm telling you that I take that as disrespect. If you want to double down, I don't need to mess with you then. You know what I'm saying? Sometimes it does escalate, but if we could communicate, I'm almost certain it wouldn't escalate to life or death circumstances. You know what I mean? I'm almost certain that we'll always be able, even if it's an agreement to disagree, we could still walk away. We could still, you know what I'm saying, without having to, all of the reaction, like fighting usually is emotional reaction. And we're not fighting nowadays. We're going straight to guns. So all of that is emotion. But it's look, because the main emotion on the forefront is anger, and the emotions that follow in that zone, in that red zone of anger, a highly expressive emotion. Shout out to Bleach for giving me the zones of emotion. You know what I'm saying? Because that is seen as acceptable for a guy. That's usually what we're operating high on as far as expression. Guys don't even realize that it's all emotion. You are being emotional, even though you're being aggressive out of the emotion, you are still in an emotional state. So practice mindfulness. Take the time to pause and ask yourself, what am I feeling and why am I feeling it? If it's because of an external, like somebody else, then now you can ask them, what did you mean? Can you interpret? You know what I'm saying? I know I've done this plenty of times, and the person was able to explain themselves. And I'm like, okay, so it wasn't actually disrespectful. Okay, it wasn't actually directed towards me, even though it seemed subliminal and kind of in my direction. It wasn't actually meant towards me. Or, I could read between the lines, it was, but because I confronted you in a respectful manner, you changed your posture, you changed your energy, you know what I'm saying, to try to reduce the tension as well. So now there isn't an issue. I actually find that more respectful because now we're not in that same emotional realm. You know what I'm saying? Like, you made an effort to acknowledge a wrong and you put in an effort to change it, even if on the surface it seems like, like you ain't all the way 100 right now, but it's okay. It's okay. I could accept it as long as the behavior changed. You know what I mean? Take some time to just pause right quick and think about what it is before you react, before you act. Practice mindfulness. Okay. They have apps like Headspace and stuff like that. I'm not a sponsor. I'm not a advocator. I'm not a what do you call it when you get advertisements, whatever from it. I'm not an affiliate for any of these places, for any of these things, but these are some tools that you can use. Okay. One of the main things that I do, and I tell everybody, bro, write it down. Write it down. At the end of the day, or when you clock out, when you get to the car, or when you on break, or whatever, whatever it is that's on your mind, pen the pad, write it down. When you write down whatever it is, a thought, a problem, you know what I'm saying, a feeling, anything, a scenario, anything, when you a plan, when you write it down, it takes it out of mind. It makes it an actual thing. Now I can look at this face to face. I can see it. And because it's out of my mind and in my physical, I now could approach it outside of myself. That's what Sir Robert Utley, he said, that's perfection. The godly sense to be able to jump outside of yourself to see your emotion. So to be able to regulate your emotion is to be able to get outside of yourself. You know what I mean? He could explain it better. But that's what's emotional regulation. It's to be able to have y'all ever had an outer body experience? And I mean like for real, like I've had moments where I saw myself and I'm looking at like what he about to do. But I'm looking at me, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm like I ain't gonna go too deep. I ain't gonna go too deep. But the mind is not the brain. The brain is the organ, right? The mind is a spiritual, and you are your mind. Therefore, you are capable of having an outer body experience. You're capable of having lucid dreams where you sleep, but you still feel whatever it is was in the dream. Like your mind doesn't have a shape, form, color, texture, none of that. That's why, it's a spiritual thing. Uh, so with that, you are able to have an outer body experience. I've had that to where it's like I saw me in real time, like moving, and it's like, what are you about to do? And with that, if you ever like just say you can always give the best advice, but when you're in a situation when you're the one feeling it, it's like I don't know what to do. But if you was to have that outer body experience, it's more so like, what would you tell this person in this situation? You can make a logical decision if you take away the emotion. And it's not about taking away the emotion. It's more so like, what would be the best result? What would be the best decision for the best outcome? You know what I'm saying? Most people don't want to choose violence, right? We don't want it to escalate. We don't want breakup, separation, heartbreak, anger, resentment. You know what I mean? We don't want inner turmoil. We don't want to neglect ourselves or lose ourselves. We don't want doubt, guilt, shame, right? So what would be the best decision to, encompass all of these things? Like what would be the best decision? That's that getting outside of yourself. I've had that experience to where it's like, hey, in his shoes, he probably should, you know what I'm saying? They're just like, oh, talking to me here. Okay, so let me move on that. Making the logical decision. Remember, I told you the logic is based on emotion. Making a logical decision means that you're taking the emotion into consideration and still looking at the outcome that is wanted, that is needed for the situation, and making a decision and at moving on that decision that's going to give us the best outcome, right? So I tell my guys, write it down. When you write it down, It's now physical and you can see it. And being that you can see it, it's no longer in mind. So it no longer bears that heaviness, that weight. There's been so many times where I was what you would consider emotional. There's been so many times that I was like ready. I'm like, yo, I should snap. I could snap, like I'm being tested. And when, let's see, the quote is a smooth sea never made a skilled sailor. I was in rough waters. I was in rough waters. When it rains, it pours. You get this, all of these problems as a collective. Oh, I'm about to break. What is happening? And every time I felt like I was going to a breaking point, I had to check in with me. I wrote it down. And when you write it down, you're able to see. And then I'm like, oh, that's not even an issue. Or that is an issue, but that one doesn't take priority. Okay, what do I need to focus on? And from there, I can start making, like I'm telling you, bro, write it down. Write it down and watch how stuff change. Watch how stuff move, man. Write it down, right? Third prompt, build safe spaces. Build safe spaces for expression. Now, as much as I tell my guys that we should be able to talk, right? As much as I emphasize communication, as much as I want you to be able to express yourself freely, we are still in a world, in a society that says man should not have emotion. So I'm not advertising for you to just start showing all of your emotions to the world. I'm not. But you have safe spaces for you to be able to express yourself. One is here. Another space is rebuilding men for my fellas, right? And I'll give you that location later. But it's a nonprofit here in Richmond, Virginia, Rebuilding Men, found by my brother Paul DeBerry. It's another safe space. You have some safe spaces for you to be able to express yourself as a man. But what I say by that is connect with your fellow brothers, your brotherhood, your brethren, your male peers, right? Because it is some things that only us guys could talk about. I've tried it. I have tried it. I have tried to have the same conversation I've had with the guys, I try to have with the girls, and it does not go the same. It does not sound the same. We had a co-op meeting, right? At Rebuilding Men, they have we have meetings, we have meetups for the men. We had a co-ed meetup, right? So it was a mixture of men and women at this one co-ed meetup. And one of the guys said that I just needed some space, and she didn't understand that. All of the ladies was like, yeah, what you mean by space? What you mean by space? Because you trying to go outside. And I'm like, I understood exactly what he meant by he needed some space. He just needed to be amongst himself, clear his head, get himself together. Because if he's not good for himself, he's not good for you, ladies. I was like, how was that misunderstood? But needing some space was like a trigger phrase for all. I'm talking about all of them, and these are high caliber women. All of them was like, yeah, nah, space, nah. And I was like, definitely space. What you mean? So there are some things that only us guys can talk to each other about that makes sense amongst us. What we like, we know, we understand. As much as I emphasize communication, trust me, my wife would still tell you, you know what I'm saying? Like, he alright at it. As much as I emphasize communication, I'm still a work in progress too. There are some things that only guys will understand. So you need fellow men to be able to discuss certain things. You need to be able to be safe with just talking to good good brothers, bro. Just good men. And good men come from experience. What have you experienced? The guys that, and I'm telling you, bro, this is through experience and experimentation. I tested these things growing up and all throughout my life. I tested these things. Remember, I told you I was in anger management 4 times in my adolescence, in my teenage years. I went to court appointed. I kept on fighting, kept on fighting, because anger was the only thing that I knew that I could show that was acceptable. So anger management amongst those peers, it was more so like a competition who was the most angry and who could be the most angry. So now we starting to break shit. We starting to, you know, exude more of that. That was deemed acceptable. That wasn't what I wanted though. That wasn't what I wanted. So I tested it, you know what I'm saying? Like, let me talk to other guys. You seem to be pretty calm. What is it about you? Or how would you handle the situation that got me so angry? You know, I tested it. I started talking to different guys. And what I learned is the guys who are still living out this mantra of men don't have emotion. I'm like, can you explain this? Because it's a mixed message, it's a miscommunication to the younger, the boy who is hearing the man say you're not a man if you have an emotion. So when that boy have an emotion, he feels as though he's not being a man. It's a miscommunication. And I think we all, as men, know this way too well. It's coming outside of yourself. So we need safe spaces, meaning we need other guys that we should be able to talk to. Whether it's, male peers, you got plenty of support groups now. You just go on Facebook and search in groups for like men groups. They're there, right? And you also got online communities like who? AIM. I'm here. We're here. There's plenty of guys. It's Men's Mental Health Month. If you go, the link for the Facebook group is also in the description. Um, but you can find the Facebook group. AIM, Always Improving the Mind. And once you in there, you can post anonymously. I wouldn't know if you're a man or woman, you know what I'm saying, unless you describe it. I wouldn't know anything about who this is. I would just know it's a post. Everybody would just see the post. You wouldn't be able to attach it to you. So you could be like, hey, look, I'm actually feeling something. I'm going through this or that without it being tied back to who you are. You know what I mean? Protect your identity. That's what a lot of us are running away or suppressing emotion for as well, is to protect our identity. You done built this out. Listen, bro. Again, in that adolescent phase, I became a bully. All through anger, right? That's the main emotion that was driving me. All through anger, I became a bully, right? And I didn't want to. Uh, I realized that that had become my identity. So I thought I was getting respect. I thought I was getting love. I thought I was getting all of the due credit through exuding anger, being a bully, pushing and knocking people over, uh, fighting, taking stuff. Like I thought I was getting due respect, but I was just getting fear. And I realized, like, acknowledge this about myself. I much rather be loved than feared because I still will be respected. I still will be respected if loved. You know what I mean? And once I came to that conclusion about myself, that's when a lot of my anger resolved. Like, I'm more so mad at me for acting outside of myself. I'm doing or showing what I'm told or shown is acceptable for a guy to show. I had to be the tough guy. I had to be the dominant one. Whole time I'm pushing people away. And I'm like, well, where y'all going? I thought I was doing the right thing for a second. Once I realized this ain't me, I attached this to my identity. When I'm eavesdropping, I'm hearing how somebody describes me, stay away from him. Hold on. I'm cool. Like, I love. I I thought me fighting all the time was showing that I'm willing to fight for those that I love. I want you to love me. Once this attached to my identity, that's when I had to question it. Like, hold on, that ain't me. You know what I mean? Learning myself, man. All through my adolescence, I had to learn that. I'm gonna give y'all the real, okay? Another gem, therapy or coaching. I'm a mindset coach. Therapy or coaching is not a weakness either. It's wisdom. It's wisdom. I learned so much from having a coach. I learned so much from therapy that now I have these tools in my arsenal for me. You can't tell me that it's weakness. It's not just somebody outside of you telling you who you are. Absolutely not. These are resources. These are tools to better discover yourself so that you can navigate through this big old life. It's not a weakness. And we talking about building safe spaces for expression. Even just one trusted person to talk with regularly helps process emotions constructively. Even if it's just one. I've seen people who is like the only person that they could talk to might have been a parent or something. The parent passed, and now their whole life is in shambles. They don't got nobody. I ain't got nobody to talk to. Just one person makes the difference. Build your safe spaces for expression. Let me continue. Fourth prompt is we can regulate our emotions through the body. For one, when you feel something, where do you feel it? Because it's not always up here. You have a gut feeling, you felt it in your heart, your chest might tighten. I tell you what, I tell you what, as much as I as much as I preach about this, I'm not perfect either. That's why I can give you experience. I recently had a pop-up that I did for Shine. Shout out to Shine. We got new scents for this month. Ocean Views, Strawberry Splash, and all-time favorite for the guys, Leather and Wood. Shout out to Shine, shinecareproducts.com. Y'all check that out. But Shine had a pop-up for Juneteenth that just passed, right? Another reason why we didn't go live last Monday was I was prepping for that pop up, and that was the only day I actually had time to prep for that pop up. I didn't realize how tightly wound I was for this pop up, right? Talk about emotional regulation. A lot of the times we disregard the emotion to be able to get the result. What's the old school mantra? Shut up and work. Hmm. F how you feel, right? I got that about me too. I can overdo my discipline sometimes. I did not realize how tightly wound I was for this pop up. And it was wonderful. We had a great turnout, made some good sales, met some good people. The weather was nice. I reconnected with some loves of my some loves of my life. You know what I mean? And it was wonderful. I had a wonderful experience. As soon as it was over, I sat down and my body felt heavy. And I just like, I was like, girl, I did not realize how much, how tightly wound I was for this pop up, for this event. I didn't. I shirked it all off. I gotta get ready. I gotta get prepared. It was a crazy 2 weeks because I know entrepreneurs or anybody that's doing something outside of the job, y'all can relate to this. Every time it's something important outside of the job, that's when the job needs you the most. I'm telling you, man. I was like, just 2 weeks prior to this, I was like, any extra hours, anything extra I could do? Nah, matter of fact, you can go home early. What? I'm trying to work. Oh, okay, so y'all don't need me. As soon as I'm like, okay, I signed up for this pop up, I'm ready. I got to get ready. I got to, I got to make my product. I got to prep. I got to have a lot. I got to get my stock up. I got to, market and network and all of the above, right? Now I got so much to do. That's when work was like, nah, we need you to spend the night. Yeah. Like, what you mean go home? Mm-mm. Actually, you said you done. No, you're not. We got more for you to do. And it's like, yo, it just was work on work on work on work. My wife was looking at me like, why aren't you sleeping? And I'm like, I got work to do. What you mean? You know what I'm saying? So, not listening to my body, not listening to the most important person who paid attention to me, like, you tired, but you're not going to let yourself rest. Nah, I got work to do. I neglected myself in order to get this result. And though it was good, I did not acknowledge until it was over how far I had pushed myself. And I do that. That's something that I have to be aware of because I like pushing my limits. I like challenging myself. But when I know I've reached the limit, I'm like, all right, bro, you got to chill. My body would get jittery. I would shake. Like I would have like this nervous energy in my arms. That's like, you ever felt that? You ever hit your funny bone? You felt that static in your arm, and now your fingers is like, I can't even. I don't think I'll be able to pick this up with that. I would feel that, you know what I'm saying, without the effects of hitting my funny bone. I would feel that, and then like my head will get heavy, my vision will get blurry. Like I could be on the brink of like passing out because I done pushed myself so hard without rest for a result. That's emotional suppression. I'm acknowledging this. I'm aware, you know what I'm saying? Even though it's for a good cause, even though it's for a good result, even the ones who preach discipline would see that to me and be like, nah, bro, you gotta get your rest. You know what I'm saying? Like, you gotta rest. Like, otherwise, you ain't gonna be no good. So you feel emotion in the body. I said that a whole lot. You feel your emotions through the body. You ever got nervous? I'm pretty sure you felt it in your feet. That's why you couldn't move. You know what I mean? Your feet get all light and ticklish. It's like, what is this? Your knees buckle. Oh, you know what I mean? You feel emotion through the body. It's not just a mental thing. So you could regulate emotion through the body as well. Every time I felt so nervous that I felt like I couldn't move, I forced myself to move. And it's like, okay, I just proved to myself that I can. So let me take one step, take the next step. Regulate the emotions through the body. Exercise, boxing, yoga, even walking. Walking is a stress relief, right? If you had a rough day, and you even can be tired, if you go to the gym after that rough day just to get something out, it's literally a stress relief. Like it literally releases the stress hormone in the body, right? Paying attention to your body signals. Anger and anxiety often stem from tension. What I said, I was wound up. I was pretty tight wound. Anger and anxiety often stem from tension, fatigue, and poor sleep. You wonder why you're so mad. Go to bed, bro. Get you some rest, right? Get you some rest. Do your little workout. Drink you some water. Let's come back to it. You can regulate them. You can regulate your emotions through your sleep, right? Let's see. The fifth prompt, it says to name emotions, to tame the emotions. It says instead of saying I'm pissed, be more specific. You know what I mean? Like I feel powerless, I feel dismissed, and that I claim that to be being brutally honest with self. And a lot of times that takes a process to get there too. So acknowledge first and foremost that yes, I'm pissed the fuck. I'm pissed off. Excuse me. Acknowledge that first, and then we can go into why. You know what I mean? I think that's more of a process. I don't really claim that as naming the emotion to tame the emotion, but just processing. And when you increase your emotional vocabulary, right, this helps reduce impulsive reactions and increases self control. Because if you know more of what you are feeling, then you would learn more of how to react. Hello? I learned for me, I never wanted to be jealous either, bro. But I've been jealous, and the times that I've been jealous, I learned for me what it is I don't know or I'm confused. Two emotions that I cannot sit with is confusion and guilt. I'm not gonna do anything. I'm gonna try not to. I'm not perfect. I'm gonna try not to do anything that's gonna bear me guilt, that keeps me honest, that keeps me authentic, that keeps me genuine. Because I don't want to be guilty. I cannot stand the weight of guilt. And we'll have that discussion another time. But I don't want to be I'm not intentionally going out here doing something that I know I'm gonna be guilty of. I'm gonna feel guilty of. You know what I'm saying? And I don't like confusion. Out of confusion is where my anger usually pulls. So I communicate, clarify. You know what I'm saying? This increases self control and eliminates my impulsive reactions. Usually, when I'm confused, that's when I'm like, nah, I need clarity. You know what I'm saying? I'm confused why you think you can approach me this way. I'm confused why you would say such a thing. I'm confused why you feel as though it's acceptable to talk to me or do or like touch me, you know what I'm saying, in a certain manner. Maybe I didn't express it enough. Maybe I didn't express it at all. Let me tell you now. And here we are. We're setting a boundary. You know what I mean? Now, if you do this intentionally, yeah, and I know it could be quick instances like somebody brush past you and they touch you, and it's like, hey, look, don't touch me, bro. Now emotions are flaring, emotional reaction, let me touch you again, and now escalate. We could be fighting or whatever. But when you learn more about communication, emotional vocabulary, you know what I'm saying? It'll you'll have more words to be able to describe or communicate what it is that you actually trying to get across, your point that you're trying to get across. You know what I mean? Uh, so that's prompt number 5, name emotions to tame emotions. We got 4 more prompts. Um, let's see if we got time to get them done. Try to reduce this. Like I said, I knew this live was gonna go crazy. We got a lot to discover and discuss about emotions as men because for so long we've been told that we don't have them, and that has been one of the biggest lies to all of us. And that's whoever telling us that is doing us a disservice. Explain what you mean by not having an emotion, because I feel something X Y Z. The 6th prompt is learn assertive, not aggressive, but assertive communication, right? Instead of blaming, instead of just outwardly projecting, instead of just thinking you are always right, because everybody is right to themselves. You could justify your thinking if you're the one who had these thoughts, right? But with communication, you learn to open your mind, open the perspective, try to see what the hell somebody else has seen or thought, you know what I'm saying, to get to their conclusion. Like most mishaps stem from miscommunication. They say use I feel statements instead of blaming or resorting to silence. That silence is a choice that is chosen way too often for me personally. Because if I ask anybody that asks you, are you okay or what's wrong, can obviously see that there is something wrong and that you are not okay, right? No, I'm good. Okay, so you're not willing to talk about it. I'm gonna let you know that it's okay for you to talk to me. Whatever it is, I hope that you're able to handle it and don't let it get the best of you. I'll leave it there. You know what I mean? But in the perfect world, if you ask me, we would be able to say certain things like, I'm dealing with something right now, got something on my mind, but it's mine. I just need to process this. I just need to be alone for a little bit. You know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel as though those expressions can be respected more. Like, oh, okay, cool. I know too many people, too many of my guys who like resort to the silent treatment. And I won't go too far on this because we only got like 7 minutes. But they resort to the silent treatment, and the silence leads to separation. And then we're so willing to accept the separation because we've been preached this independence, this individualism. All I need is me. It's not true. We're supposed to interact. We're supposed to communicate. What I just said, when you build a safe space, you have at least one person that you can talk to. But we so bent on separation, we so accepting of separation, and the silence leads to separation. That after you've been silent for a while, after somebody has asked you what's wrong enough times, and you keep saying nothing, only thing I could do is take your word. Okay, so nothing's wrong. You try to move on as normal, and business that there is something wrong, you're not moving as normal. There has been a change, there has been a shift, something is off. And I can't keep pretending as if this ain't happening. You know what I mean? So, no, no, dog. Like, talk to me. If you ain't gonna talk to me, at least let me know I can't talk right now. I don't know how to talk about it. Those are all acceptable. But to say that it's nothing, nah, dog. So learn assertive, not aggressive. communication. This next prompt, I should have spent some more time on. But we'll talk about all these things again. This is not the last time we're going to talk about emotional regulation. Prompt number 7: limit numbing habits. Overuse of alcohol, porn, weed, or gaming may feel like stress relief, but often suppresses emotion rather than regulate it. If it's the only coping strategy, it's time to add healthier tools. I want to spend so much more time there. I'll speak for myself. Gaming, I used to say, is a way to escape this reality. I did use it as a tool to get away. I know other people, I, I play like fighting games and stuff like that, but I mainly play RPG, fantasy, adventure, role playing games, right? So I like to see I like the adventure. I like the discovery. I like to solve the puzzles. I like to see the scenery and stuff like that. Like that's what gets me for the gaming. I like the stories. But I know a lot of people, they go to the game, they play sports games or shooting games. No, sports games, it's just to feel like I achieved something. I gotta win, right? You might set it on easy so you could just dunk all over the computer or whoever. You know what I mean? Uh, you might play the shooting games to continue, shooting. You playing GTA to be able to just do what it is that comes to mind instead of having to be a normal person and not rob, not shoot, not, what I'm saying, steal. Now you can do these things in these video games with no repercussion. You know what I'm saying? So if that becomes the only coping strategy, yeah, it becomes an issue. It becomes an issue. You become drunk with alcohol, you stuck on drugs. It can escalate from weed, right? You can't do nothing now. It's a crutch. You can't do nothing without these things, these external things that make you feel better. And we could talk about porn all day, the effects that it has on the man's mind. That's why it's free. That's why it's free, guys. Next prompt, because we got a few minutes. I want to spend some more time there, but we'll have a whole discussion on that. Next prompt, the 8th prompt says, accept that you can't fix everything. Man, hold on. Accept that you can't fix everything.
Message.
That is a bar. We are taught that we are problem solvers. So every time we see a problem, we want to just jump to solve it. You know how hard it was for me to learn that sometimes I just need to listen. Sometimes, I just need, instead of me jumping in, right? We say how women are emotional. Okay, well, women are going to come to you, my God, with their emotion for you to be able to create this balance and stability. You're supposed to be able to handle their emotion. But what we do, we problem solvers. We have that problem solving thinking. So if they come to us in an emotional state with the issue, we like, okay, A plus B equals C. Let's go ahead and handle this. You know what I'm saying? Like, what you mean? Boom, boom, boom. Some of the stuff would be so simple. Yes, we know the problem, we know the solution, but it's not always our role to solve the problem. I had to learn to accept that other people's problems are theirs. It's their problem. Sometimes The problem is how they're looking at their situation. It's not even an actual problem. But because we're in this problem solving mode, we've been taught to solve. It's not an issue, it's not a problem. But if we're always in that realm, it can become one. So we have to be shown, we have to be taught that we got to be able to sit with discomfort. Sometimes the most healing act is allowing the emotion to exist without rushing to resolve it. Accept that you can't fix everything. I know a lot of guys feel defeated because of some small issues that may exist within their lives. And a lot of times, the issues are not theirs. When I went live with my guy, Quan, I said that I wanted to be able to put my mom in the house. That's not my problem. That's not my problem. Of course, that is a accolade. That would be amazing, and I'm still working towards it. But it's not my responsibility. My responsibility is to provide a house for my immediate family, me and my wife. You know what I'm saying? Outside of that, anything outside of that is extra. But I know a lot of guys that are like, I'm not being a man because I can't resolve whatever, some type of issue that a lot of times not even ours to resolve. We stuck in that fix it mode. Accept that you can't fix everything. And the last prompt, man, I want to keep going. I'm telling you, it's so much about emotional regulation. The last prompt, prompt number 9 says, seek purpose and meaning. When emotions feel overwhelming, reconnecting with your core values, goals, or purpose to stabilize your inner world. Purpose gives your emotions direction rather than letting them control you. So, what I said, write it down. Write it down. You got a goal, write it down. Because if we leave it to thought, we have thousands of thoughts a day. It's easy to lose the thought that we were so driven by. Vice versa, it's easy to focus on thoughts that aren't productive, that aren't serving us. So many people have so many things going right, but they focus on the one thing that's going wrong and say life is just messed up. But you living, but you working, but you financially stable. Oh, you have a vehicle that doesn't require maintenance. You can put gas in your car. You can put food in your house. All of your bills are paid. But so and so don't like me. Life is just messed up, bro. You got so many more things going right than you got going wrong. And when you focus on the few things that aren't right to you, it makes you feel like life is just life. And when they say life be life, and I think of it as a good thing because I get a lot out of life. Seek purpose and meaning. Purpose is in servitude. Meaning is why am I here? And you discover that through action. And the more that you do, the more you learn. Please keep writing these things so that you can come back to them. You can see them face to face. And this is one of the ways that I remind myself of who I am, how much I've done. You know how easy it is to forget some of your biggest successes, especially if you are trying to be even keel. The one that doesn't allow themselves to feel that joy. They don't allow themselves to feel that achievement, like, oh, it's just something that happened. You can't celebrate. You can't sit with this joyful moment because you're being even killed regarding the emotion. Mm, it's so easy to forget our greatness. It's so easy to forget how much we've overcame, how much we actually went through, how much we've actually learned, a lot of the things that we've done. I'm generous, I'm a giver, and I know, I don't believe, but I know how God works is the more you give, the more you shall receive. I know this. That's a law of abundance. The more you give, the more you shall receive. I forget how much I give. So I be lost as to why I'm receiving so much. It's so easy to forget your successes. So easy to disregard a lot of the good. And that's why I encourage, write it down, because it's been times when, and I learned this from my coach. He said, write down 7 accomplishments a day. And I kept an accomplishment journal. Every day, I wrote down what was considered an accomplishment. It started off small because I was in a bad headspace, right? It started off small, like I woke up this morning. That's an accomplishment. If you woke up this morning, you winning. It's an accomplishment, right? I'm in a well lit home with warm water and food to eat. That's an accomplishment. I had breakfast. Oh, that's an accomplishment. And I just kept stacking these accomplishments throughout the day. Somebody gave me a compliment. That will be in a good mood. That's an accomplishment. I helped somebody. You know what I'm saying? And by the end of the week, I'm gonna need another journal soon. Man, you're doing so much more than what you actually realize. I was able to go back and see some of the things that I did. I was able to check in with myself when I journaled, when I wrote it down. I was able to check in with myself and just see some of the greatness that bestowed within me. Okay. Woo. When we talk about regulating emotions, it's one thing I want you to know. It's all love, bro. It's all love. We do not control our emotions. We control how we react to them. Nobody chooses. I said nobody. We don't control. We don't choose our emotions. We choose how we react to them. Nobody chooses to be jealous, right? Nobody chooses all the time to be angry. That is exhausting. But we choose how we react to them. And the more aware, the more emotionally aware you become of yourself and how things impact you, the better you can navigate. The more emotionally sound you become, the less emotionally reactive you will be. So, if you want to be the guy who says that you don't have emotion, this is what you need to be working on. Your emotional intellect, intelligence, awareness, regulation. Get your emotional IQ up. Now, again, if anybody needs a safe space, you want to talk to the fellas, you want to talk to me, the link is in the description. Come to the AIM Facebook group. I'm available, right? I accept you in. You can post anonymously. You can talk to me directly. Okay? We're here. You can comment. I respond. If you want this free tool, the AIM Emotional Wheel Chart, I encourage you to download that PDF to see how many emotions there are, and then you can use that to pinpoint how you feel, good or bad, you know? And books that I recommend. As a Man Thinketh by James Allen, Emotional Intelligence 2.0, I don't remember the author, and Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. That is the end of this live. We're going to definitely have to talk about this more. Stay tuned for more that's coming. You have a great week. It's Mindset Monday. This your boy Trayvon Pratt with AIM, always improving the mind. Much love.